a retreat or recap for the pageant gals. This weekend, I hosted my 4th in-person retreat. I'm going to be breaking down what happened and my biggest insights and takeaways. And on top of it, also sprinkling the seed that we have the next retreat that I am planning in October 2026 for my gals who want to build your brand, build your business, and make more money. So if that does interest you, send me a message because we're in the early planning phases of picking out dates and things like that. So first of all, happy Wednesday. If you are here, my gals and guys, because I see Luke is in the viewership, drop a hello in the chat. I'd love to hear who is here on live. Aisha is here. Amazing. So this weekend, I hosted my 4th in-person retreat. I started hosting retreats back in 2024. Yes. So I hosted one in 2024, 2 in 2025, and I just hosted my first one in 2026. And we're already planning, and we already have gals who are like foaming at the mouth for the details for another one this year. And then we're going to keep doing more. I love in-person retreats. I love hosting and facilitating them. A lot of what I do in the pageant world and now in the business world is so different than what most people do. And I think women are so incredibly, in the best way, surprised and have their eyes open so much because of the type of work that I do with my clients. And I say, working with me is like you're in a pageant every day, all year round, and you literally feel like you are winning and you're growing and you're thriving. Like, I don't do this like up and down type thing when it comes to your energy, when it comes to your motivation. To me, like every day is the pageant that we get to compete in and be the queen of our life with. So let's go into it. I started doing retreats, like I said, 2 years ago. My first ever retreat, I had 3 incredible clients register. Decided, you know what, like I want more women in the room. So let's keep going. We're not going to stop here. My last retreats, we had 4 and then we had 6. And this time we had 10 register. Unfortunately, one was unable to make it due to health reasons. But 9, like 2 years ago, we only had 3 people in the room. Now we had 9 women and more who were ready. But just because of the space that we were in, we had to limit the number of spots just due to beds. So 9 women registered for the Monumental Queen Retreat. Each retreat has been a little bit similar, but I feel like I'm really refining and honing in on the women that we want in the room, because being in person with me is not just, I'm going to teach you all the pageant skills that I could teach you in my programs. Like, what point would that be? If I can teach you something online and you can get a really amazing experience and you can have an incredible win, why am I going to do the exact same things? On top of it, a lot of these clients have already come to retreats with me. They've been working with me in things like the Queen Collective for the last either 6 months or the last like 4 years, literally. So to me, retreats are a lot more about the experience and embodiment of the goals that you have. And if you're here, I'm going to assume that your goal is either to win a pageant or to grow your platform. And those are the things that I help my clients do. So at this retreat, it was called the Monumental Queen Retreat. And in the past, it's definitely been more, we've stayed on the more like queen embodiment side. This year, I was like, I am Maria, the pageant gal. We're going to bring back in the queen side. We're going to bring back in the queen of the pageant side. So we did do pageant strategy workshops related to preparation, related to your platform, related to interview, and overall just like next step strategy planning. So I'm just going to fire off some insights that came from this. And like I said, if you're someone who is like, you saw the photos and videos and the experience and you just feel like your soul is craving you to be in the room, training and working on your goals and stepping into more of the queen that you're here to become, send me a message, because I am in the planning phase and building a wait list for our October retreat. And then for next year, we're probably going to do next May of 2027. Crazy to think we're talking about 2027 already. So the first thing that I want to say, and whether you were at the retreat, first of all, if you're one of my gals who is at the retreat, let me know. Comment the word retreat. I want to see that you are here and you're still like vibing and buzzing and the chat is still popping off from all of our girls who are there. But the first thing that I really want to say, my biggest insight, is how much bigger life gets to be for all of you. How much bigger, how much more amazing, how much more fulfilling, how much more you get to be winning in life. After being in pageants for 10 years now, coaching for 7, doing my business full time for 3 years, really, the biggest thing that I've seen is like everybody looks at the pageant title as the ceiling. It's like, that is the be all end all eggs in that basket. That's all that I want. And what I have learned and what I have seen in the experience I show to my clients is yes, I want the wins. The wins have changed my life in pageants, and pageants are not the goal. Why? Because they're only going to happen once a year, or if you compete in multiple, but it's a one-time thing. And then even if you win, the title's going to be women in the room. So let's keep going. We're not going to stop here. My last retreats, we had 4, and then we had 6, and this time we had 10 register. Unfortunately, one was unable to make it due to health reasons, but 9. Like 2 years ago, we only had 3 people in the room. Now we had 9 women and more who were ready, but just because of the space that we were in, we had to limit the number of spots just due to beds. So 9 women registered for the Monumental Queen Retreat. Each retreat has been a little bit similar, but I feel like I'm really refining and honing in on the women that we want in the room, because being in person with me is not just, I'm going to teach you all the pageant skills that I could teach you in my programs. Like, what point would that be? If I can teach you something online and you can get a really amazing experience and you can have an incredible win, why am I going to do the exact same things? On top of it, a lot of these clients have already come to retreats with me. They've been working with me in things like the Queen Collective for the last either 6 months or the last like 4 years, literally. So to me, retreats are a lot more about the experience and embodiment of the goals that you have. And if you're here, I'm going to assume that your goal is either to win a pageant or to grow your platform. And those are the things that I help my clients do. So at this retreat, it was called the Monumental Queen Retreat. And in the past, it's definitely been more, we've stayed on the more like queen embodiment side. This year, I was like, I am Maria, the pageant gal. We're going to bring back in the queen side. We're going to bring back in the queen of the pageant side. So we did do pageant strategy workshops related to preparation, related to your platform, related to interview, and overall just like next step strategy planning. So I'm just going to fire off some insights that came from this. And like I said, if you're someone who is like, you saw the photos and videos and the experience and you just feel like your soul is craving you to be in the room, training and working on your goals and stepping into more of the queen that you're here to become, send me a message, because I am in the planning phase and building a wait list for our October retreat. And then for next year, we're probably going to do next May of 2027. Crazy to think we're talking about 2027 already. So the first thing that I want to say, and whether you were at the retreat, first of all, if you're one of my gals who is at the retreat, let me know. Comment the word retreat. I want to see that you are here and you're still like vibing and buzzing and the chat is still popping off from all of our girls who are there. But the first thing that I really want to say, and my biggest insight, is how much bigger life gets to be for all of you. How much bigger, how much more amazing, how much more fulfilling, how much more you get to be winning in life. After being in pageants for 10 years now, coaching for 7, doing my business full time for 3 years, really, the biggest thing that I've seen is like everybody looks at the pageant title as the ceiling. It's like, that is the be all end all eggs in that basket, that's all that I want. And what I have learned and what I have seen in the experience I show to my clients is yes, I want the wins. The wins have changed my life in pageants, and pageants are not the goal. Why? Because they're only going to happen once a year, or if you compete in multiple, but it's a one-time thing. And then even if you win, the title's going to be done in a year. You have the entire life, your entire life in front of you to be a queen. So instead of looking at the pageant as the be-all end-all, think about pageantry as being the vehicle to being the queen of your life and truly having the impact, the legacy, and the fulfillment you want every single day. And that requires you to pick your head up and look at, what the heck do I actually want for my life, which a lot of women, a lot of competitors, a lot of title holders are not actually doing. And that's what I do. And we actually have a really incredible training coming up next month in the Queen Collective. It's going to be our first call of the month, where we're talking about the Leave Your Legacy planning for your year after you win, because we don't plan for the future when the future happens. We plan for it now, so we take actions and we're able to do things to step into it. So the first insight is dream bigger. Want more for yourself, because nobody else is going to come and like knock on your door and be like, hey, are you fulfilled? Are you happy? Do you know that you could do more? This is your life. And I know that your life is not just about winning one crown, having a good reign, and then piecing out to your day job. I know that if you're in the pageant gal world, you're here to make a massive impact around you, and you want every day to feel like you're winning. Because I also have seen and talked and worked with women who will win some of the biggest pageants that right now each of you is working towards, but they don't feel like a winner. They're comparing themselves. They're complaining. They're doubting every single thing that they're doing, even though they have the title that they said they wanted. So in my world, it's not just win the pageant, it's win the pageant, be the queen of your life, and know and make the impact that truly fulfills you and changes lives around the world. That is the biggest insight from this weekend, is allow yourself to dream bigger. Allow yourself to want more for yourself, because you don't really get to stretch and see who you are and who you become in your comfort zone when you're setting these like small, cute goals. Like, oh, I just want to go to one event this month. That's not making you a queen. That is a to-do list. That is like a bare minimum task checker. And you're not here to do the bare minimum. You're here to be the queen and really show that you're here to step into leadership. And that requires you to want more for yourself. It is such an act of self-love and self-worth to say, I want more for myself. And that's what each of these women really got an experience of this weekend, is not just talking about wanting more for themselves, but getting to be witnessed in wanting more and having that external accountability. And that goes into the second thing about this retreat, because it was a 3-day retreat. So we start Friday evening together. We have all day Saturday and then half day Sunday, and then everyone is on their way home. So the first insight is want more for yourself and stop settling for where you're at right now. I know it's good. I know it's comfortable. I know you could stay there, but you are meant for growth. And a queen naturally doesn't want to just stay in the same place year after year. So again, it takes a lot of self-love and self-worth to say, I know I'm meant for more. I want to make a massive impact. I want my story to be heard by millions. I want to be impacting millions. I don't just want to be on the biggest stages. I want everyone to know who I am because of my influence. That is what we do in my retreats and in spaces like the Queen Collective. So the second thing, which I already alluded to, and if you're here, say hello. I'm gonna start waving at some of y'all here. Hello, hello, hello. Mackenzie's on the wait list for our next retreat. Shayla's here, Lorelai. Yes, if you are all here, say hello. So the second insight, the second big takeaway from this weekend's retreat, the Monumental Queen Retreat, is allow yourself to be witnessed by other people going after your goals and dreams. You do not get a badge of honor for doing everything in silence. You do not get bonus brownie points for being like, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm working on, and then I'm just going to hope and expect that one day everybody just gives me the recognition that I want, even though I did nothing to actually share the process with them. Part of being a monumental queen, part of being the queen of your life, is being witnessed going after your goals, is being witnessed declaring the things that you want for your life. And how much we have to do in the healing aspect of women in order to be able to say what we want and know that us wanting more and us sharing what we want and us talking about it to other people does not take away from other people's gifts and wants and wins. Because so much, and I'm so tired of hearing about it in the pageant space, is I can't say what I want because then she's gonna want it and then I can't have it. And I hear this from coaches, I hear this from competitors, I hear this from title holders, and I don't buy into it. When you are seen going after what you want and when you're declaring it and saying it, you give so much permission to others around you to, 1, support you, 2, conspire to work in your favor, right? Because if you say, I want to speak on stages, I'm here to speak on stages, I'm here to share my story, and someone in your audience who didn't know you were there sees an opportunity that you weren't aware of to have someone referred to speak on stage, who do you think they're going to message? They're going to message you and be like, hey, I know you were wanting to speak on stages. Like, there's this opportunity I saw. But that can't happen if you're being the best kept secret. That can't happen if you don't put your ego aside and actually say and declare the things that you want. And the other piece of it is allowing others and giving them permission to go after what they want. And knowing that your win doesn't take away from theirs. We are literally living in a world of limitless opportunities. And yes, I get you're competing in a pageant and she's competing in the same pageant. Both of you can't win in the same year, but that doesn't mean that you both can't win at the bigness you're here to have in life, at the impact you're here to make. And who's to say that you winning this year, well, guess what? She might win next year or vice versa. We've really let pageants be the cap, and we get to open up so much more to what does it actually mean to be a queen every single day. So not just want more for yourself, but build supportive and safe communities and spaces and take the stage as someone who is saying what you're working towards and what you're working on, and allow yourself to be witnessed by it. You are so much more likely to hold yourself accountable when you say the things you want out loud. And not saying the things you want out loud is just you giving yourself an out. It's just you giving yourself an excuse for saying, okay, if I don't hit this or actually go after it, no one's going to be mad at me. And that's loser behavior to me. We're not doing that. queens aren't meant to just build a big empire and a big legacy behind the scenes. I see everyone is in the chat and they're like, yes, amazing. You look beautiful. Thank you. Claps, 100%. And that's not the way I do things. If you are comfortable where you are at, if you do not want to make a big impact, if you do not want more for yourself, you're going to be massively triggered by me and the work that I do, because I'm going to keep asking you and I'm going to keep reminding you that you are not meant to just get to where you are and that's it. And the thing about the women in the spaces that I'm in, and you got to think the women at this retreat, they were from across Canada, across the US. We had different provinces, different states, women who drove in, women who flew in. Nobody actually was like in my immediate area. Girls did have to come at least like an hour away or so. But women from all different places, all different areas and journeys of their life. Some were, with partners, some weren't. Some were competing in a pageant, some weren't. Some had platforms, some had businesses, but yet they were all able to say and declare the things that they wanted and elevate the entire group. And I heard girls say, like, one was like, oh, I just want my platform to be in 4 countries. And another one was like, what do you mean 4 countries? Girl, like, you can make this in 20 countries. Like, have you thought about this, this, and this? So we actually build more of the entire collective of queens when you share your goals in a supportive and uplifting space. And that's what my retreats do. And that's what spaces like the Queen Collective do. And I don't think pageant women are in spaces like this enough. And I think if the only pageant prep that you're doing is mock interviews and single sessions, you're missing out on such a big opportunity to actually grow and actually go after what you want and become the woman who can literally do anything. So let people see you. Let yourself be witnessed. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was, if you said that your goal was to lose 20 pounds, but now on every single day on your platform, on your public Instagram, you posted your weight and you said that your goal was to lose 20 pounds, how much more likely are you to show up for it? Now that people know, now that people see, it's not just you saying it behind the scenes. It's like you have this external accountability. We all can use more of that in a healthy way, in a very healthy way. Do I think 19 is too young to aim for an international pageant? No. My client is 20. She just turned 20. She won an international pageant. She's in the Queen Collective. Shout out Elena. So allow yourself to be witnessed. Allow yourself to be witnessed. Next insight, and if you have specific questions about our retreat weekend, please share it below because I would love to answer, and it's all so fresh. And it was such an incredible time, and I'm still like decompressing from it all. So first thing is, want more for yourself. This is literally a limitless world that you get to decide what you want your life to look like. Stop making the pageant the be all end all. It's amazing. Yes, go win, but also ask, what else do you want for yourself? Your life is meant to be more than one title. Your impact is meant to be more than one person. Let's actually play bigger. And that's what my retreats are, is having a bigger conversation and playing a bigger game of life. The second thing is allow yourself to be witnessed. Allow yourself to be seen. Build community around you of people who support you and who help conspire to help you hold belief in what you want and who will also help you make things happen. Third thing that we had is that your healing of your insecurities is the best thing that you can do on this journey, and it is your responsibility. You cannot expect other people to show up in a certain way, whether it's judges, whether it's coaches, whether it's directors, whether it's other delegates, in order for you to feel comfortable. You are responsible for your feelings, for your identity, for your insecurities, and having insecurities is one of the greatest downsides of women in pageantry and feeding into our insecurities and the thoughts that buy into the stories. And these are things that you can overcome. And I will say, I've been in pageants for 10 years. I built my business full time, a lot of success that I literally never knew could happen. I still have insecurities that come up, gals. But the difference is that I didn't sit in my insecurities when I was starting. I didn't sit in my insecurity of, I don't think I can do this, so I'm not gonna try hard. That's like the worst thing that I see happening in pageantry right now. I don't know if I can actually win. I'm scared, so I'm just not gonna move forward. There's a difference between I'm scared, I haven't done this, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm still gonna move forward. I'm still gonna invest. I'm still gonna get uncomfortable. I'm still gonna go all in versus I'm scared, so I'm not even gonna try and I'm just gonna let myself talk myself out of my dreams and goals. Loser behavior. We are winners, and not just on stage, we're winners every single day. And queens don't just succumb to their fear. They actually realize that part of growth part of achieving your goals in and out of pageantry is learning to embrace fear and move forward anyways. And that was actually an exercise we did at the retreat, is learning how to shift fear into empowered actions. Not get rid of it, but learn that it's there. It's something that can hold us back, but instead, what are our empowered, aligned actions going to be? And what energy are we going to choose to show up with? You cannot control how other people show up. You can't control how other delegates show up. You can't control how your parents show up, how your partner shows up. You can't control any of that. All you can control is your state, is your goals, is your commitment. And there's too many pageant women defaulting on their own commitments to themselves and lowering the bar and lowering the goals. And I'm here to say, no, let's play bigger, let's stick to it. And if you're not facing insecurity and fear on the journey of your goals, you're not dreaming big enough. And it's such a gift to face fear. It's such a gift to face our insecurities and heal them. You don't heal your fears and insecurities and grow as a person by playing in your comfort zone. So that's why that's also a huge part of the retreat. Someone's asking, do you need to have a highly maintained social media account? I would. This is 2026, right? This isn't 2020 where like social media is new. This is 2026. Absolutely. You should be on social media, building your brand and building it consistently. So yes, fear work is some of the work that we do in my trainings and in my retreats, not in a very big way, because I don't want everyone to be like, what are we going to do? Of course. It's about the fear and then the empowered action. And if there are, today's live, I love it. We haven't done a live in forever, but everyone's like asking a ton of questions. Everyone's asking a ton of questions related to other pageant things. Maybe I'll have to do a different live for that. This is about retreats. And we've got one coming in October 2026. So if you want to be around women who want more for themselves, who don't just want more, who are going after more, who are setting even more big goals and dreams and monumental aspirations for themselves, and we're having higher level conversations, and we're not afraid to declare them, and we're setting up strategies to make them happen, you want to be in the room, and you should message me, be like, Maria, I want to get on the wait list, or can you send me the dates? And I'm happy to send those to you. That is what the retreat spaces are. Okay, I only had the 3 main things, but there's almost like one more thing that I feel like I want to share about retreat insights for this weekend that I want to share with you all. It already dropped in. I was like, I know that there's one more thing I want to share. It is that you have to keep going. The bare minimum of success in your life, in pageants, in business, is keep going after the things you say you want. I hosted my first retreat 2.5 years ago. And I had 3 of my dream clients, women who I love. Like if Roxanne, Michaela, and Jewel are here, like that was such an intimate, like amazing experience that we got to so tailor to them. And then the following year when we had Mia and Gabby and Tia and Michaela there, like those were incredible experiences. But at the same time, I remember thinking to myself, if I were to run like a smaller retreat, it would be done in a different way. Like these retreats are meant to have like the masses. They're meant to have like 6 women, 10 women, 20 women there, all getting a really incredible experience. And I could have succumbed to my doubt. I could have said, I don't need to host retreats. Obviously, nobody wants to participate. Obviously, nobody wants to join in, so I'm just going to stop. How many of you say you're like, I'm done because it doesn't work out the first time? And I actually made a post on my business Instagram, the Pageant Gal Empire, where I said, my first retreat, I didn't make any money. And my goal wasn't to make any money. But my goal, was to have a few more people in the room. And then my second retreat, we had a little bit more growth. We made a little bit more. But again, each time I could have said, like nobody wants this. I've been promoting it for 6 months. My community doesn't like it. Or I could buck up my belief and say, no, I want to do this and this is new and I don't know how to do it. But I'm not just going to stop. What am I going to do? I'm going to get the feedback of what I could improve on. I'm going to get support from people who have done this before and can help me improve. And then I'm going to keep going. Your success is inevitable when you are the person who does not give up. And sometimes we need other people sharing their belief in us and sharing their pathway to how they did it to help us be able to do it as well. And let me tell you, when I technically did, I don't want to say less planning for these retreats, like I definitely did a lot of planning for it. And P.S., For those that want this, we use this all weekend. This is from Amazon. If you're like one of my gals who gets hot, use this. It is incredible. And it also just feels like you're a movie star. I did a lot of planning for these last 2 retreats, but when I tell you they filled up so much more quickly, not because I had the secret, not because I did anything differently, but because I was consistent. And people trust leaders who are consistent going towards what they want. And that if something hasn't worked out for you the first time, it doesn't mean that you're not meant to do it. It means that you have something to learn. And you can either step back and be like, nope, I'm gonna stop this, or you can say, no, I said I wanted this, let me keep going. I'm telling you, your success will be inevitable if you don't give up. And this is really also something that I had to think about when I was competing in pageants. So many women just take pageants off the table when they don't win the first couple times. And I remember before I won my international title, my thought was, if this takes me 10 years to do, I'm gonna keep doing it. I had a moment come up where I was like, oh my gosh, I might not win, I'm gonna have to invest again. And then I checked myself. I was like, Maria, we are not in control of the timeline. And if it does take me 10 years, and I'm 36, 46, whenever I won when I was 26. I was like, I will keep doing it. I might not compete every single year, but I'm not gonna let the dream go. And if it takes me that long, I will keep going. And then maybe after 10 years, I'll reevaluate, like maybe I gotta change the system or something. And that year I won. But even before I got the goal, I was committed long-term, even before it happened. So you have to decide that you are fully committing to what you want, no matter if it happens on the first time you want it, whether that's retreat planning, a business, or a pageant, or a platform initiative. Someone said, do I do private coaching? All, like 99.9% of my coaching is done in the Queen Collective. If you're a private client, you get like very personalized direct support. It's a higher ticket investment, and I don't have spaces open for one-on-one coaching. Why? Because my clients get the best results in group programs with me, like the Queen Collective. And if you're not in the Queen Collective, like that is the number one place to be. If we're having a conversation about coaching, it's going to be about the Queen Collective. And my clients had nothing, like honestly, my Queen Collective clients who were there, they were talking about it. Like I didn't tell them to talk about it, but they were just talking about how much it's completely changed their life in the way that they pageant prep, in their platform, and just in like who they are as women. And I promise I didn't tell them to do that. They just did that on their own. So yeah, there is a little bit of one-on-one coaching. Like you can do a VIP package where it does include one-on-one sessions with me, but group style is where it's at. And if you're only doing one-on-one coaching, you're missing a massive opportunity for growth. Because in one-on-one, it's just me and you together, bouncing ideas and giving you support. When you're in a group, you are mirrored and you're expanded by every single person in that group. And I have a very high level group. Like I do not just let anybody who just wants to like complain and sit in their misery. No, like we are ambitious women and leaders who want more for themselves. It's like a bunch of Marias in a way, but everyone's doing their own thing. Each of these women has a national platform that is like making national or international impact. They're taking action daily. Like the bare minimum is like you want more for yourself. You have a great work ethic and you have a great attitude. And that doesn't just happen when we're in one-on-one. Yeah, Cass, you can send me a DM and then we can set up a call to chat about applying for the Queen Collective 100%. Send me a message. So if you are interested in either the Queen Collective, this is my 6-month pageant mastermind. It's not just for pageant women, but the goal is you either want to win a pageant or you want to grow your platform or both. That is what we do. And it's all in pursuit of being the queen of your life every single day. Again, it's not about the platform. It's not about the pageant. It's about who you're becoming in the process. And the Queen Collective is the space where we build out all of that for you in a group style. Or if you are interested in our next retreat and you want to get on the wait list, because I highly recommend you get on the wait list. There was a girl now she's a client of mine in my mastermind, but last November and October when I launched this retreat, she'd asked for details. And I had asked her if she was going to sign up and she's like, I'm going to look at the details. And then it was like a month later and she was like, do you have spots left? And I was like, girl, no, it's sold out in 2 weeks. She's like, oh, I was going to like check in the new year. It was like October. She's like, oh, I was going to check in the new year about this. I was like, no, things have changed. I was like, things have changed. Like you can wait, but if you wait, spots are likely going to sell out or the price is going to be higher. So I highly recommend if you're interested, October, we're looking at a couple dates in October, send me a message and I can let you know and see which ones work better for you. Although I think I have an idea of which one we're going to go with. that is going to be about branding and business. So you're a pageant gal or you're a woman, even if you're not in pageants, and you want to build your brand, business, and income. That's what October's retreat is going to be. And then if you're interested in our next pageant queen of your lifestyle retreat, that will be happening next year. You can still message me about that. I don't have the details open or anything, but we absolutely can we're going to still open up the wait list and probably do deposits for women who want to make sure that they get a spot in, because as you can see, things are starting to fill up. And I am so unbelievably, can't talk today, ladies, need my second cup of coffee. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to each woman. And that was actually what I opened up the retreat with, how grateful I was for each woman, because I know they all had to go through a lot internally and externally to be there. I know that they had to embrace their discomfort. I know that they had to go through the unknown and uncertainty of getting to the location, especially if you've never been there before. I know that some of them had things come up throughout last week that could have made them be like, I'm not coming, I can't come. And I know how much it actually takes to get in the room, but you truly become a different woman, a different leader, a different queen by getting yourself in the room. It's a much different feeling than being online. And if you know that you're meant to have so much more for yourself, a way bigger impact, and it requires you to step into your leadership, it's going to require you to get a little bit uncomfortable and put yourself in spaces that expand you. And that is what I do. And that is the work I do with my clients in the Queen Collective, in our mastermind, and at our retreats. So send me a message. Someone said this live came at the perfect time. Yes, I hope that we get to have you at our next retreat or in the Queen Collective. You can message me about either. It is a beautiful day. I'm going to go enjoy the sun. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, message me if you're interested in the waitlist for our next retreat, or you want to apply to the Queen Collective. And then I also have something exciting coming next month. Our interview program is coming live. Nail Your Pageant interview is back. It is back. We don't have all the details. We don't have all the dates down, but if you want to get in, and you want to get in at like one of the most insane prices that I could literally ever, like, you can't even imagine how low this price is right now because I don't have all the dates and details, message me interview to get the early access, because when all the details go live next week, the price is going to go up. So again, get in now, get in early. All right, ladies, have an amazing day. Chin up, crown on, and I'll see you in the next live.